Rosie O'Donnell is causing. With us now, Fox News business analyst Terry Kiernan and Charles Payne, the CEO of Wall Street Strategies. Now, Disney stock has done well this year, but this has reached critical mass. What do you think is going to happen?
You know, I think Disney is going to roll the dice and continue to stick with O'Donnell. The thing is, we've seen this movie before with Bill Maher, and eventually you had advertisers pull out Federal Express, Sears, and it hurt them financially. Listen, Disney's a publicly traded company that's had some ups and downs. Recently it's been up, but if they missed their earnings by a penny because advertisers pulled out, not only will it hurt the stock now, but it will hurt their reputation, which was battered for a long time. All
right, Terry, now I would say Ms. O'Donnell has alienated between 60 and 70% of the country with her comments, based upon the polls. That they didn't do a poll on Rosie O'Donnell, but 60 or 70% of the country are traditionalists. They don't want people rooting for Iran. They don't want somebody telling them Americans killed other Americans on 9/11. Can a company like Disney, which trades on goodwill among middle America, continue with this woman?
I think they can, Bill. I mean, you're not going to like that answer, but I think they're going to stick with her. This is a slow motion train wreck. Eventually, she'll crash. But what she does is she accelerates, she starts feuds, and then she pulls back ever so slightly. And you know, the ratings, I know they're down since January, but they're up 20% year over year. She had record ratings for the sweeps, and the head of ABC Daytime said, "We love Rosie," and she's going to cut a huge deal when her contract comes up in May, and they need to have her in May when the affiliates come to New York and want to see the programming for next year.
Number one, there's no feud here, unless there's a feud between Rosie O'Donnell and the American people. There's no feud, all right? This woman said things that are A, untrue, B, offensive, and C, put our people overseas in jeopardy. That's the truth. Has nothing to do with a feud. And number two, I disagree with you on this. I don't think ABC is going to give her a big number to renew. I don't think it's economically feasible for her to get $40 million, which is what she wants. And I don't think that the company is going to absorb this kind of pain much longer. You say it's a slow motion train wreck? This thing is off the track now, Terry.
Well, she's not going to get that $40 million. She's not going to make more than Barbara Walters, who owns half of the program.
An interesting name.
But you know, if ABC wanted to mitigate Rosie, why don't they get an articulate conservative who could actually argue with her? Put Laura Ingraham or Michelle Malkin on there. Instead, they give her bigger and bigger percent of the show.
We don't want Michelle on there because we like her here. But that's an interesting name, Barbara Walters. The damage that Rosie O'Donnell is doing to Barbara Walters is enormous because Barbara Walters owns part of this program. Now, I know Barbara Walters doesn't want any part of this, doesn't support what Rosie O'Donnell is saying, but is caught in an impossible position. Again, that puts more pressure on Disney because Ms. Walters is more valuable to them than Rosie O'Donnell is.
She is, but Barbara hired her, and I know as well that Barbara has said to people, I can't control her. But Barbara's off interviewing Hugo Chavez, and you know, Rosie has the table and she has control every day. You know, Barbara's backed off.
Charles, you're the CEO. I'm firing Iger and putting you in the CEO seat of Disney. Not really firing him, but just for this show.
Do that.
Okay, what do you do?
Well, again, you know, he's probably going to roll the dice.
No, Charles. What would you do?
I would have got rid of her a long time ago.
Why?
Why? Because I think she's a mean-spirited person, and Disney is not supposed to be a mean-spirited company. Even though everyone's entitled to their right of opinion, I think what she does is she drags things through the gutter. It's one thing to say, okay, you know, I'm a leftist, but she is so anti-American that it's really, it's just,
now, I'm on the board of directors, and you're firing her because you think she's mean-spirited, and she is mean-spirited. There's no question about that. She trades in personal attacks. She doesn't control her verbiage. She goes after people in vile ways. But I'm on the board of directors, and I'm saying, hey, Mr. Payne, this woman, as Terry Keenan pointed out, rose this program up 20% year to year. We're making some dough. I don't care what you think of her. Do what's best for the company. Well, you say what?
I say, you know what, we have to look at this long term. You know, at the end of Eisner's career at Disney, Roy Disney said the company was soulless. I don't think Iger wants his legacy to be that the company was classless, and that's where they're heading right now.
Last word?
You know, if you watch the show, Rosie's outrageous comments are about 5% of the Daily Show. The rest of the time she's talking about decoupage and her children and the like. So I think for the average viewer, the women that watch that show, they are not as offended as they would be if they saw the clips of her outrageous statements not in their entirety, because the rest of the show is about lots of other things.
All
and
right,
she gets
so if you're the CEO, you just go blithely along and don't say anything to her.
No, I would try to counteract her, put some people who can put her in her place. Let's have a national discussion.
So you'd have a mud wrestling show then?
Well,
because O'Donnell is not going to brook that. O'Donnell's going to go after them personally, as Charles pointed out.
That's the problem.
Then you're going to have
someone needs to talk to her about the personal attacks. She needs to be talked to about that.
But she's not going to listen. She doesn't listen.